You are being manipulated right now, and the worst part is you don't even know it. This isn't about force or shouting or aggressive demands. Those clumsy tactics are easy to spot and dismiss. The most effective control is not exerted through strength, but through a calculated, invisible, and elegant emotional programming so subtle, so interwoven with perceived affection that you will reorganize your entire life around it and genuinely thank her for the suggestions that controlled you. It does not look like manipulation. It looks like love, care, partnership, and genuine concern. This system operates beneath your conscious awareness, targeting the very core of your emotional operating system, while your logical mind is lulled to sleep. By the time the patterns click into place, you realize the decisions you thought were yours were merely the final, predictable products of an influence designed to reshape your behavior without ever triggering your defenses. The genius of this soft control is in its disguise. Where a man attempting control is direct, obvious, and forceful, the subtle operator is indirect, emotional, and devastatingly elegant. She does not command compliance. She creates conditions where compliance feels like a choice, a reflection of your own noble impulses. A disappointed sigh when you mention a Friday night with your friends, a slight, lingering coldness after you voice disagreement, an extra wave of warmth and validation when you yield. These are not random expressions of feeling. They are behavioral conditioning tools. You are being trained, not by a whip and chain, but by shifts in emotional temperature. Your deep, innate masculine desire to make her happy, to keep her comfortable, to see her smile, becomes the very lever of your control. Your commitment to being a good man is converted into the pathway to becoming a controlled man. To understand how this operates, you must first recognize the most potent tool in this invisible arsenal, the complement command mechanism. It is a formula deployed with surgical precision, designed to bypass your rational defenses entirely. Step 1. Ego validation. She disarms you with praise that feels absolutely genuine. You are so smart, I trust your judgment completely. Or, you always know exactly what to do, which is why I love you. Your defenses drop, your ego purrs, and your critical thinking relaxes, high on the validation drug. Step 2. The behavioral suggestion. While you are basking in the glow of that affirmed identity, the request arrives, not as a demand, but as a confirmation of your esteemed qualities. A man as smart as you would understand why I need this right now. Or, someone with your clear judgment would see the wisdom in this decision. The command is not merely wrapped in a compliment, it is entirely dependent on it. Resistance now does not simply mean saying no to a request, it means betraying the very identity she just attributed to you. To refuse is to deny that you are smart, trustworthy, or capable. This neurological link between ego gratification and compliance is what makes the tactic devastatingly effective. You are not obeying because you are weak. You are obeying because compliance has been hardwired to the reward of being the man she says you are. This system is further enforced by the calculated weaponization of masculine pride. Every man possesses a self-image, a protector, a provider, a rational thinker, an emotional rock. She identifies these markers and uses them as leverage points to ensure self-enforcement. A real man would handle this without getting emotional. A strong man like you doesn't need to prove anything to me. A good provider would naturally want his family to have this extra thing. Notice the pattern. She is not attacking your strength, she is holding your strength hostage. Your own pride becomes the jailer. You cannot refuse the action without feeling a fundamental breach in your identity, without feeling like less of a man. She has turned your greatest strength, your identity, into your greatest weakness, transforming your pride into your prison. The pressure is intensified through the manipulation of moral positioning. The sophisticated operator frames her desires not as subjective preferences, but as moral imperatives. Refusing her is not a difference of opinion, it is being a bad partner, a selfish person, or lacking in love. If you truly loved me, you would understand why this is important to me. A caring partner would never let me feel this way. Your integrity becomes the very thing that guarantees your compliance. The internal pressure is immense because you are no longer fighting her agenda. You are fighting your own self-concept. To maintain your identity as a good, strong, caring man, you find you must do what she wants. The manipulation achieves its total victory when you begin to police yourself more strictly than she ever could, becoming your own warden, imprisoned by your values turned against you. This level of control is not achieved in a single conversation. It is the result of patient, deliberate emotional conditioning over time. It starts with small, seemingly reasonable requests, minor adjustments rewarded with a disproportionate amount of affection, validation, and appreciation. Each compliance links obedience with a positive emotional outcome. Over months or years, the repetition of praise and reward builds an emotional dependence. You become addicted to her approval, to the supply of validation she controls. Like a dealer managing an addict, she manages the flow of the very emotional rewards you have grown to need. The withdrawals, the coldness, the distance, the silent treatment when you displease her become unbearable, and you will do anything to get back to that warm feeling of her approval. Trust, which should be the foundation of a sovereign partnership, becomes the Trojan horse for deeper control. Once she has your complete trust, you stop questioning her motives, and the woman you trust most is the one who can manipulate you most effectively. The abnormal becomes acceptable through sheer repetition. What once felt wrong now feels normal. It's just how things work. Your resistance erodes, not through force, but through exhaustion, turning small acts of agreement into long-term patterns of submission that you mistakenly perceive as cooperation. Emotional control is the default when open authority is unavailable. Why fight when she can make you think her ideas are your ideas? Why force when she can make compliance feel like a choice? The illusion of partnership is one of the most effective disguises. You believe you are making decisions together, having a collaborative discussion, but the outcome was predetermined, orchestrated from behind the scenes. Your agreement was engineered, not earned. She builds trust as a platform for future manipulation, investing months of seeming care and support to ensure that when the real control is needed, your guard is down. She engages in preemptive framing, setting emotional narratives before conflicts even arise. I know you're not the jealous type, so this won't bother you. Or, since you're so rational, you'll immediately see why this makes sense. She is programming your response before the situation is presented. Your reaction is predetermined by her framing. She has written the script, and you are simply playing the part. In time, you internalize her voice as your own inner dialogue. Her logic, her justifications, and her framings of the situation become your thoughts. A secure man wouldn't be bothered by this, you think, and that thought is the voice of your controller. Finally, the darkest tools: fear and guilt. She doesn't directly threaten to leave, but she cultivates an ambient anxiety about loss through the subtle withdrawal of affection, the stories of friends whose relationships failed, and the reminders of how good you have it. This fear operates subconsciously, guiding every decision. You find yourself preemptively self-censoring and avoiding behaviors that might upset her, not because she demanded it, but because you fear the consequences she has carefully cultivated. You become the enforcer of her unspoken rules. Guilt-based persuasion makes refusal feel immoral. After everything I've done for you, I guess my feelings don't matter. Refusing her is equated to hurting her, and a good man does not hurt the woman he loves. This guilt becomes a chain stronger than any physical restraint. Your own emotional insecurities, your fear of inadequacy, of not being enough, of being alone, become the control levers. She doesn't have to threaten. Your own insecurity does the work, ensuring your fear of consequences is stronger than your desire for autonomy. But the invisible cage can be dismantled. The first and most critical defense is awareness. Once you see the patterns, they lose their power. Recognition is like flipping a light switch in a dark room. The shadows that seem threatening are revealed as mere illusions. Knowledge of manipulation is immunity to manipulation. You must learn to calmly, consciously separate genuine affection from strategic communication. Real love does not require tactics, it is empowering. If she has to manipulate to get what she wants is not good for you or the health of the partnership. When faced with an emotional tactic, you must respond calmly without emotional investment. Do not fight the manipulation, simply do not participate in it. When she deploys guilt, remain centered. When she uses flattery, keep your critical thinking online. Emotional manipulation requires an emotional reaction. Without your participation, her tactics fail. Be the rock that waves crash against without effect. Reclaim your self-respect through conscious detachment. You don't need to leave the relationship, but you must leave the manipulation dynamic. Disconnect from the need for her validation. Disengage from the fear of her disapproval. Detach from the guilt she tries to trigger. Your emotional independence is your strength, your freedom. Use logic as a shield against emotional persuasion. When she presents an emotional argument, respond with a logical question. When she deploys guilt, examine the facts. Logic disrupts emotional reasoning. Develop an unreactive masculine presence. Your lack of reaction is your strength. Your emotional stillness is your power. This is not about becoming cold or distant. It is about becoming conscious. You can love someone without being controlled by them. You can be a good man without being a controlled man. The goal is not to win or dominate, but to maintain your sovereignty within the relationship. It is to love from strength, not from fear. To give from choice, not from guilt. Your freedom depends on your consciousness. You are not being paranoid, you are being perceptive. These patterns exist, and these tactics are real. Your recognition of them is not weakness, it is wisdom. Trust your instincts. If something feels manipulative, your subconscious has already recognized what your conscious mind is trying to deny. Real love respects sovereignty. It doesn't need tactics. If you are being manipulated, you are not being loved. You are being controlled. Stay alert, stay aware, and stay sovereign. Your awareness is your shield. Your logic is your sword. Use them wisely, and no manipulation can touch the core of who you are.